Hello, everyone. How are you tonight? This is Tizer here. So, Heavenly Father and we were talking, and He wanted me to share some of my experiences and to come forward about some of my life situations. And He gave me a whole school of things to talk about, but I can only talk about one particular thing at a time because, I can only do a 10-minute video at one time. So the first one that I decided to pick upon is called difficult situations. What I chose to do in difficult situations that I was presented with in my life. So here we go. During difficult situations, I drew on my inner strength to make intentional decisions. I kept transparency, empathy, and forgiveness, along with striving to emerge stronger and wiser with valuable lessons to share. Okay? So, some of the lessons that I learned in my difficult situations were keeping truth highlighted. I found that if I kept the truth at the forefront, and I literally put all the truth on the table at once, it gave me more power, and it gave me a more clear, concise situation that I could handle, and therefore I could create a better outcome for myself. So, and for the other people, because when you're thinking through a difficult situation and all the emotions are high, you never know what other people are going to do to you. So it's so important to have your own footing because you know what kind of outcome you want. And especially if you're a sensitive person, I always want the best possible situation to have a great outcome, or at least a peaceful outcome. So that's why I like to be in control, because at least I know in my own heart that I'm not going to go after somebody's throat. And I don't know if they're thinking the same, but I know that with me, I want to have the most loving outcome that I can possibly have in any situation. So that's why I always advocate for dumping the truth, all of it, every last bit of it, right from the beginning, because it throws them for a loop and they don't know how to respond to it. So you have the cards in your hand and you can play the game stronger and wiser than they can, because you don't have all the emotions that have just been dumped on you. So that's why I like to do it that way. And the other thing, it allows you to shape the situation. When you have the truth dumped all at once, it allows you to shape the situation. So I always try to shape it with a peaceful outcome, and I always try to address the feelings, opinions, and facts that are thrown into the situation. And I always try to have a goal ahead of time of how I want to handle the situation. So I always have that in the front of my mind so that I can definitely address the situation. And let's see, using forgiveness and settling opinions and facts along with your feelings is always the best thing to do, because you don't want to leave unresolved feelings, because that always leaves people questioning and they always spin on it and things get out of control, and sometimes that's not good for certain people. So always try to address some situation in one way or another. And always know when to walk away, because there are certain situations where you literally have to walk away, because when people try to gaslight you, you want to walk away. When abuse starts to take its shape, and you can usually tell because people get angry, they lose self-control, and their tone changes, their facial expression changes, they kind of lose their mind. Their sense of reasoning is just totally gone. And therefore, you want to walk away in those situations, because you don't want to end up in a wall, and you don't want to end up dead. So definitely know when you have to walk away, and don't be afraid to walk away, because it's your life. You only have one. So know when you got to walk away, please. And the other thing is, when you do walk away, don't forget the situation. You want to try to reflect on it. You want to try to understand where you're coming from. Understand the situation that you were just in. Don't be afraid to feel, understand, and express those feelings. If you gotta cry, cry. If you need to call on a higher power, call on a higher power. But don't be afraid of it. Don't bury it. And don't do what our parents tried to teach us to do, and not handle it and just forget it and put it in a box and never look at it again. That's not healthy, because it always comes back. And people need to really understand our words are filled with so much energy and so much power. So all of that energy that was just expressed in that situation is inside of you now, and you have to let it go. You have to release it, because if you don't release it, it becomes health issues, torment in your mind. It's just unhealthy, and then reliving it over and over again. Express it, write it out if you have to, feel it, acknowledge it. The best method to handle any situation, it's my favorite expression. It is what it is, and that's all that it is. It's just a situation. It might have feelings, it might have emotions, it might have facts, but it's still what it is. That's all it is. It's a situation. Never allow a situation to fester, because if it festers, it just continues to loop over and over again, and it goes nowhere. It just gets stuck in the body, and it gets expressed in other ways. So release it, acknowledge it, understand it, and know you're dealing with humanity. Humanity is like a roller coaster ride. It's got its ups, its downs, its twists, its turns. Everything is just chaotic. Just know that. It is what it is. I live by that expression, and it has never faltered me at all. It's always been there. So, with that said, acknowledge it, release it, forgive it, and let it go. And it makes you a stronger person. And also look at what you're learning from each situation, because there's a lesson in everything we do. And no, it all comes back to love. Loving yourself enough to know that nothing is bigger than love. Nothing at all. So everything can be handled. So God be with you. I love you, and you guys take care of yourselves. And know God is always with you. So ask Him to be with you. Tizer out.